Hi, mate. Hi, mate. Good, good.
Eddie, could you give us an injury update on Henry Slade and Sinclair?
Henry Slade, still ongoing checking of the injury, but probably going to be out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Sinclair was being examined again this morning, but the likelihood is that he's got a hamstring injury of significance, and it's probably going to be 6 to 7 weeks.
Have you ever encountered a sort of an injury list like this across all 6 teams? All 6 teams seem to be missing key players. England are now missing, I think, 15 odd players, I think it is. I mean, have you ever encountered anything like this?
I think by the time we get back, it'll be 20, so who's counting?
And what do you put it down to?
Look, I think you just have these runs. I don't think it's anything significant. You have ups and downs in the game, and this just a timing that you've got a number of injuries. I think, potentially for the Lions players, you can understand that the injury risk is higher because of the lack of proper pre-season they had, but obviously they're not all Lions players.
How's Chris Robshaw and Mike Brown?
Chris Robshaw's going to win any sort of water Olympics at the moment. Like, he's unbelievable in the pool. He did a water aerobics class with a bunch of Portuguese women yesterday, and apparently he was the best in the class. So, so if we play Italy in the pool, he'll be all right. If we're playing rugby, maybe he's going to be borderline to get there. Brownie's starting to do some light skills today, and we'd be hopeful by middle of next week he'll be right to train. So, again, he's going to be borderline for Italy.
Eddie, going back to the player welfare piece, what are your thoughts on the Premiership? Player welfare and limiting the amount of injuries you get?
Yeah, I'm not an administrator, mate. I'm a rugby coach. But I'm getting to that age where maybe I can be an administrator. So when I get to that age, I'll be able to give you a good answer on that.
Joe Schmidt said he was happy to see the rest of the coaches out in the rain for longer than he was. A bit of gamesmanship from him, he said, with tongue-in-cheek. What do you make of that?
What was it, mate?
Well, he was late for the photo call. Had you guys standing in the rain?
Oh, right.
For an extra wee while.
I didn't notice, mate.
Eddie, last week you said something about how if you read the papers, no point in turning up and that kind of stuff. Where have you got that concept from, and why have you got this understanding that people are suddenly thinking that England aren't going in as strong favourites?
Well, I've read a few of I can read. Yeah, in Australia they do teach us how to read. No, the popular conception is Australians can't read, but we can. We do have an education system. We borrowed it from England, so it's quite a rigid education system. So I've read a number of the commentary on the Six Nations, and you look at a great autumn series. Yeah, we had a muddling autumn series. We've got a list of injuries as long as my arm. We haven't got any teams in the quarterfinals of the Champions Cup. We've got one who sneaked through. Yeah, it's all doom and gloom. So that's what I'm reading, mate.
But where are you reading that? Because last week anyone in the room was listening to it, so well, I haven't written it. I mean, where are you seeing this write-off? Your favourite?
Oh, I must be making it up then. No, I'm making it up. Yeah, I've got a great imagination. I'm making it up.
Eddie, the back row, is that as big a conundrum for you as it seems for everybody else in terms of selection?
Well, I was watching the guys train yesterday and delighted by it. Zach Mercer, Sam Simmons, Gary Graham and Nick Ezekwe were training as the back rowers. All young guys. I think the most cap player there is Zigwe. He's got 2 caps. He's 19 years of age. So for us, the opportunity to develop these young players is fantastic. So it's no conundrum.
And you mentioned Mercer. If you hadn't had the injury problems that you had, would his change from apprenticeship through to full member of the squad have happened anyway this time?
Well, that's hypothetical, mate. So I don't need to answer that.
Eddie, you've now had a couple of seasons coaching at the Six Nations. What have you found the hardest thing about it compared to other tournaments?
Well, I think the intensity of the rivalry, and that, you know, obviously everyone wants to beat England. Yeah, and we have to live with that expectation, and we have to embrace that expectation. Yeah, because we've got the most money and we've got the most players that everyone wants to beat us, and that's a great thing. Yeah, you play in the Tri-Nations and everyone wants to beat New Zealand, everyone wants to beat South Africa, they don't necessarily want to beat Australia. Yeah, it's not the priority, but you go into this tournament and you can feel it, that the priority of every team, they can make their tournament a success if they beat England. And it just raises stakes for us. And we're up for it. Yeah, as I said, all these injuries create an opportunity for us. We'll show you how good we are.
Eddie, with Slade out, are you contemplating calling up anyone else at all?
Not the way you're going, mate. No, you're not a chance to get called up.
But so no chance for a replacement point?
Not at this stage, no. Even though you are training well, mate, I know.
Sinclair's out, any chance?
We're looking for a third tight head, I think. Yeah.
Projects before. Can you just give us a bit of a insight into how impressed with his performances this season?
He's tough, mate. That's what I like about him. He's tough. He's got to where he is by doing it the hard way. He's got a resilience about him. He's a good defensive player. Hits hard. Likes to hit. Yeah, he's a bit of an old-fashioned seven. He's not your absolute classical fetcher, but he's hard enough over the ball, and he's got that toughness about him.
Hartley, is this you're approaching your third year at the Six Nations, so we can make a balance. I want to ask you about the relationships with your supporters in your everyday life. I want to stop my question on focus. What are the difference between your work here and in Japan with the supporters, with your everyday work, your relationship?
Well, here I can read what people say. In Japan, I couldn't. No, the fans here are fantastic. Look, yeah, every game we played it in November, last year, we had a full house, 82,000 people. So the support the England team have is absolutely fantastic. It makes a difference to the players. Yeah, and everywhere we go, we were coming back from Portugal yesterday, and there's people still support Northampton, come up and give Dylan a rap, even though their team's not going well. And we see English fans all the time delighted about how the team's going well. There's a real passion and pride in the team.
Eddie, what have you made of Wales's pursuit of Sale number and Sam Moore?
I don't know, mate.
Does it bother you that Wales are looking at players?
Well, I can't control what Wales does. So,
are you looking forward to welcoming them to Twickenham?
Well, when it gets around to it, yeah.
Eddie, you obviously set very high standards. Does missing out in the Grand Slam last season still bug you in any way?
Well, that's all done and dusted, mate. We've moved on from that. We've played Argentina twice. We played Australia, Samoa, and who else did we play? Argentina again in November. That's a memory in the past.
Do you think a Grand Slam might happen this season, or do you think it's too tough a competition to call?
All we're worried about is Italy, mate.
Eddie, given what you said about Ireland's provincial sides in the autumn they had, do you make them?
Well, I think the expectation's high. I'm sure the fans think that. I'm sure their sponsors think that. I think their expectation on Ireland's high, and it's how they handle it now, isn't it? Because it's different. It's different going into the tournament as favourite than rather being the underdog. So it's a different position to be in. But they've got a very good coach. They've got a great leadership team, and I'm sure they'll cope with it.
Do you prefer being the underdog or the favourite?
Well, we don't choose to be that, mate. We don't choose to be either. We just front up to the tournament and do our best. You guys decide who's the favourite and who the underdog is.
Dylan, how new group of young players coming into the squad and in training camp?
I think it's good that we can keep developing the squad. We can keep bringing new faces in, and I think we've seen in the first couple of days you either sink or swim, and the guys are swimming so far. So I think the early stage of this week for us was a bit more tactical learning, Thursday, Friday for us is going to be physical, so we'll see how the young fellas cope with that. But I think we're in a great position where we can call upon these guys. You know, the Premiership's strong, European rugby's been strong, so the guys are well prepared.
You see them arriving looking like they're ready and expecting to challenge for place in your team rather than kind of joining the squad as a long-term build.
I think there's an expectation when you turn up. You've got to compete. You just can't sit and watch. You've got to get stuck in, and so far people are ripping in, which is very good.
Three hookers out of 6 teams are captains. What is it about the position that is good for leadership, do you think?
I think you're always near the ref. There's a scrum every 2 minutes, so you can talk to the ref. I think that's, yeah.
It's a bit of a union going on between you three, I guess. Yeah.
It's easy to talk to the opposition captain as well, because he's always pretty close. So, no, it's probably just coincidence.
Dylan, has been a challenge coming into the England camp after your disappointment for not having Saints at club level in Europe?
Mate, we're on club time is over now. We're on international time. That's all I'm thinking about. We're in a good place. This week that we've got in Portugal's ideal for us. Like I said, tactical stuff early on in the week, and we can, with no game of the week, and we can train at an intensity above game. So we're looking forward to that. But mate, you're talking about the past. You're talking about a club. We're not a club team. We're an international team, and that's what we're doing. We're training to play good international rugby. So that's all I'm thinking about.
Eddie, do you have a time frame for Jack now?
Well, he's back running, but again, he's probably not going to be ready until whatever game we've got after Italy.
What is it about Jack that you think lends him more to the 13 shirt than maybe a place in the back three?
A bit of a gut feeling, mate. Well, I know he can play in the back three, so it's not a debate that he can't play in the back three, but it's an opportunity for him to add value to the team at 13. You know, I think he can be a Conrad Smith type player. Good strong runner, good defensive player, high work rate, energetic, good communicator.
Dylan, Eddie's been rewarded with a new contract. Are you pleased to have him around for a longer period of time? And what's been so good about the last 2 years?
Well, mate, 2 more years. He said we're going to get him residency soon, so we're working on that. Because when we come through customs, he's got to go off on that line that takes forever, and me and poor old Gareth are waiting for him at the bag thing. So no, I think it's good for English rugby, definitely. The progression we made in the last 2 years has been good under Eddie's leadership. But we only want to improve and get better, and knowing the type of man he is, he's on a mission to get better himself. So that's only going to filter down to what's below, and that's the team and the greater, youth game, everything coming through below that as well.
We'll leave it there. Thank you.